Greetings, everybody. Lauren Montecon here from Montecon Studio. So today I am interviewing Andrea Cassola for Inside the Mind of an Artist. And welcome, Andrea. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you, Lauren.
Doing
Great to
today,
be here with you.
we're doing something a little different. Andrea is a creative for sure, and she is an intuitive guide, which we talk a lot about in the process of making art. And she's a tarot reader. She's a facilitator of the work of Brian Cady. And with the tarot cards, she uses it as a mirror and muse, and she invites a deeper relationship with the human experience where the sacred meets the ordinary and life reveals itself as a creative, unfolding. And as many of you out there know, what I like to encourage, especially with the interviews I do with other artists, is to ask questions of what does it mean to be an intuitive guide? What does it mean to work with symbols and signs? And I think the tarot, which I've been using since I was 15 years old as well, is a great introductory way to start using your own intuition. So, Andrea, through inquiry and symbolism, and that's actually a good question that I'm going to ask you of what is the difference between a symbol and just content of nonsensical making, if that made any sense. She supports a return to clarity where painful thinking softens and we become open to the creative force that longs to move through us and as us. That's a good one. That longs to move through us and as us. Her work is a gentle invitation to remember what is real and to rest in the immovable peace within. Whew, welcome, Andrea.
Thank you.
So one of the first questions I have is, how did you come to the tarot through the work of Katie Byron? And could you tell people a little bit about what the work of Katie Byron is?
Sure. Let's see where I start with that. So the first thing that happened was I found the work of Byron Katie. And to condense a timeline that's full of all kinds of stories, the work of Byron Katie came into my life in 2013, the night I thought I was going to kill myself. I used to be an extremely sick, depressed woman. I had a chronic pain condition. I was severely depressed. They talk about love your neighbor like you love yourself. I hated myself. I hated everyone. I hated everything. No one could understand my pain. And I couldn't change my situation. I couldn't change the pain. I couldn't change the people in my life. I couldn't change these situations. And one night I thought, I've had it. I'm done. And as I was counting out the pills in my hand, as I was figuring out the how, I hadn't gotten that far before, but I had decided. The thought came in that if I killed myself, it would hurt my daughter. And in that moment, that was over. There was no way I was going to do that. I never considered the impact it would have on anyone else. I was too caught in my own selfish depression. And at that moment, that night, that was not good news to me. It was like, so what now? Now I just suffer until I die? Is that what's left for the rest of my life? And at that moment, a prayer came out of me. And I was not a praying person. I didn't think I believed in God. And the prayer was, if I can't make the pain go away, please show me a way to make peace with the pain. And what came flying into my awareness was a conversation I had with someone else that I had blown off about this book called Loving What Is. That it's not what happens to me that's the problem. It's the place is what I'm thinking and believing where I'm arguing with reality. So that night I downloaded this book from this author. I wasn't a spiritual person. I didn't trust those people. I didn't trust those gurus, but I read this book and I did the work and I questioned the thought, I need to be out of pain to be okay. Is it true?
Now, who wrote the book, Loving What Is?
Byron Katie wrote that book, and that is her foundational book. So anyone who's interested in this process, that's one way to access it, is through this book. And it's the work of Byron Katie is a way of questioning what I'm thinking and believing. It's this really precise way to undo this confused thinking.
Can you
You
give me an
should be
example?
different than you are.
Yeah.
Yes, let me give you an example. She shouldn't judge me. Have you ever had the thought that she shouldn't judge me?
Mhm.
So there's somebody spewing their judgments all over the place.
Meaning the self, because you're the one thinking she shouldn't judge me?
Well, let's find a situation. Well, let me ask you let me put you on the spot. Let's find a situation from you. I invite you to connect to a moment in time where you felt stress, big or little. And it could have been, it's in the past, obviously, it could have been, 5 minutes ago, or it could have been uh, when you were 5 years old. It doesn't matter. Can you find a moment in time where you were feeling stressed that you're willing to talk about, on a surface level on this call?
Sure.
And
It happened.
so,
Hey, wait a minute. No.
what?
Um, yes, I can go back
Okay.
to this morning feeling stressed with the pressure of time. Oh my God, I can't be late for this. I've got to hurry. And then another internal voice coming in and saying, no, just slow down. It's all okay. No, you're going to be late. So I'm judging myself of how
Yes.
I'm acting in time.
Yes. And judging time. And so it's like, so there were a couple thoughts in there. They were all related, like, I'm going to be late. I have to hurry. I don't have enough time. There's often multiple thoughts. So
And it's often what I just thought of is often related to even the bigger picture of what I do. Like, for instance, I'm working on this commission and it's taking longer than I thought it was. And I'm already creating scenarios of the clients judging me because I'm not getting it done on time.
it's taking too long. Exactly. Exactly. There's this whole world that we create. So, let's say that, you're working on something and it's taking, you have the thought it's taking too long.
Mm-hmm.
So when I feel stress on anything at this point in time in my life, that was the cause of my physical pain. It turned out that that was my guidance system, that if I believe a thought that isn't true, I feel pain. It turned out to go from being a curse to a blessing in my life. But for us sensitive beings, us creatives, us intuitives, we are sensitive to pain. That's just part of the deal. So it's like if I experience any stress, so it's not going to get done on time. So there I am, there you might be working it out, and you realize things are taking longer than you thought. And then the 4 questions that I meditate on, it's a meditation, is it's not going to get done on time. First of all, is it true? Second, can I absolutely know it's true? Those are yes or no questions for everyone. Third, how do I react? What happens when I believe that thought? So that's some of what you were just describing. I get stressed, I make myself wrong, I project a future that's not what I prefer. And I really take my time. It's like this little wounded inner child who wants to have her say. And then the 4th question is, who would I be without that thought? What did I say? It's not going to get done on time. Without the thought, it's not going to get done on time. What happens to the body? What happens to my ability to create and be present and show up for myself?
I just thought of this, that when I'm teaching or facilitating workshops, I've noticed that when people show up to their canvas, wherever they're at in life, usually they show up there on the canvas. So if they're timid or they're shy or they think they're not good enough, there it is.
Yes.
If they just
Yes.
had a fight with their husband and they're stuck and they don't know what to do, there it is on the canvas. And
Mm-hmm.
I usually say, I invite them to just be. No judgment, just make a horrible painting. Just go
Yes.
through it. And what that does is it brings you to present time. So I think, I'm not sure, but I think what you might be saying is it's opening up the space between of not past, not future, but just present moment.
Exactly. Everyone talks about getting into the present moment. This work is kind of the how. It's one of the ways for the how, because we're so caught up in that illusion of past and future as if it's real.
Right.
The
Right.
whole world acts as if that's real. So it is. It's this simple way to come into the present moment. And that's where all the creativity is accessed, where all of the intuitive knowing is accessible. All of my best qualities are accessible in that point, where they can't possibly be when I am putting my judgments on anyone or anything, because they always turn into judgments on me. And they're
So
just
it's a
shutting
download,
down.
like
Yeah.
your ability to download, or where someone will say, well, where did that painting come from? Well, usually I'm an abstract painter. I mean, this might be different for representational artists that are trying
Yes.
to be precise. You're using a different part of your brain. Not
Hmm.
to say it's not creative, it is, but now I lost my train of thought. But it's the best work comes when I'm not thinking. So
And
my
it's so hard. I mean, the conditioning I grew up with was to really give me the gold star for the thinking.
yeah.
And then the results of that thinking in the forms of grades on my report card. And we all had our journey with it. I got great grades on my report card. And so what? I was a miserable person who then learned how to get great grades, but that had nothing to do with my ability to be happy or creative or in service or, do the things that I valued.
So I'm understanding that this work has been very deep for you personally, and you've
Yes.
taken it as a guide for others, but you're going another step further, like your
Yes.
website is the Friendly Universe Tarot. So how
Yes.
does this integrate and how did that happen for you?
So fast forward a 10-year practice with the work, because this one, I had a lot of stressful thinking. I had a lot of crazy thinking to work through. And I started to notice that everything that was happening for me. Even the worst things turned out to have tremendous gifts when I was able to stop and really get clear and take the higher perspective. That's not to say that everything that happened was what I preferred, but I
Mhm.
couldn't have had the knowing and the seeing that I have now if I hadn't had the chronic pain condition or lost my home or, become homeless or all the things that happened to me in my birth school. So I started to notice that there was nothing that could happen in life that wasn't happening for me. And I started to use the cards as a meditative practice. What do I need to know on my soul's journey? What do I need to know for the next step in my healing? And I started to notice that just like there's nothing that could happen to me that I needed to be afraid of, there was nothing in the cards that I needed to be afraid of. No matter what the cards were, they were simply showing me the distortions that I needed to clear to be my fullest expression of myself.
Now, the history of Tarot, the Italians, the 14th century, how do you view the history of the Tarot? Because many people say, oh, that's magic. Oh, yeah, it's predictive. Oh, that's bullshit. Oops, excuse my language. Um, but there's almost a science to it, and the science of intuition, I guess I would say. How do you see it? Like how would you explain the Tarot for those that don't know?
Well, there's so many different ways to look at them, and they depend on your level of consciousness and where you're coming from. So, if someone is coming from a fear-based reality about this is right and that is wrong, they might be afraid. And to those people, I would say, be gentle with yourself with everything you're afraid of, and there's no need to go near what isn't for you.
Mhm.
And if you want a little more peace in your life, you might want to look at what scares you.
Mhm.
For me, what I love about the tarot and the place where I've chosen to take it is it was designed as a game. That was its first use before any of the predictive stuff came up. It was
Parlor
just
games,
a
right?
game.
What kind of game? How do you
I
describe?
don't know, but to me, it's like all of these little cards are just these archetypal little
You
slices.
hold one up for the audience?
I was just having them in my hands, and let's see which one wants to come up. These little
And you're
slices.
using the writer deck, the
Yes.
sun. So I would invite the audience without like Andrea, like saying what that's about. Hold it up a little closer to the screen.
Let me move this so
So
I can see it again.
filled with symbolism. And so any
Yeah.
painters out there, we have a circle. We have, whoops, it's a little blurry. We have a child on a horse. We have, it's a flag. Yeah.
Get him to
It's
be
little.
focused.
Mm,
Yeah. He's naked
yeah,
on a
stop
horse.
there. We can see it.
There
Yeah,
he is.
there you go. There you go. And he's naked. So I'm just gonna this would be an intuitive guide. Let's say we were painting and we were using the tarot just to give us some information, So you're the one pulling it, so it's personal to you. You have
Yes.
sun, and I would invite you. I think maybe Andrea, you might say the same, but you might have a different interpretation. What does the sun mean to you?
Yeah.
What does a child naked mean to you? And it wouldn't, and then inviting you to make a painting, not so much what you see, but what you feel.
Yeah, what you feel. And we can talk about what it means, and that's a helpful place to start, but we can also connect to the energies of the card. What does it feel like to connect to the sun? What would it be like to bring that expression into form on a canvas, on a piece of paper, as a
Yeah.
way of being?
So the sun it's light, it's not dark, it's full light. It's probably midday. So it's something that it's at its abundance.
Yeah. I'm thinking, gosh, what would it be like to feel it as it came through me?
Mhm.
What wants to be expressed? These sunflowers in here, they're all facing, sunflowers usually face the sun, but in this card, they're facing the person who pulled it. It's like,
Mm.
this is an opportunity to make it all about me. Am I the sun? Well, in my own life, I am the star of my own show here. Where am I being invited to be this radiant, brilliant light? And this is part of the major arcana. The major arcana is the fool's journey. The first card is the fool, the one who knows nothing.
What's a major arcana for people who don't know versus there are what, 69 cards in a deck, or is it 60?
It's more than the major arcana is the
62.
major archetypes, the
Mhm.
major parts of our journey of being human. There's a progression. And if you look at the fool, he's got tattered sleeves. And again, I'm working with the rider weight, so they could be different, but he's on this journey. This is where his journey begins. He doesn't have armor on. There's that sun. He's not particularly well prepared. He's only got that little sack. His sleeves are tattered because he's been on this journey before. It's this circular journey of being human. So we don't just do it once, we're just constantly going through this cycle so that we have more to learn. So the major arcanas
really
are the I'm sorry?
the fool isn't really a fool. The fool is fill in the
I
blank.
think he's the smartest guy in the deck.
Why is that?
When I think I know anything, I've limited the possibilities.
Mm. The more I know, the less I know, kind of like that.
Like, how many people have you known that said, let me tell you how it is? And
What you
anytime anyone has
do.
wanted to tell me how it is, they're telling me that the news is bad. There's something to be afraid of. There's a problem in the world. I am a victim. You are a victim. I'm projecting a fearful future. This guy has none of those problems. He's just taking the next step.
Mm.
I am so tired of living in a fearful future. I'm so tired of living in the not now. I'd much rather be this dummy who doesn't know. That's how I feel every day. I wake up and it's like, okay, well, there's these things on my calendar and they may happen or they may not. And I have these creative ideas. But honestly, I don't know what I'm doing because I think my job these days is to just be happy. While I'm here on this strange little marble in space called Earth, what if my job was to just be connected and grateful and to take that next step into the sunshine where I can?
Yeah. You know, this is a different interpretation, but this is the
Mm,
in the Aleister Crowley deck, which was painted by a woman named Frida Harris, which if you look at him, he's like not like just letting himself. There's a lot of symbolism in that one too.
there's these swirls
Yeah,
around.
which is like
And
the
he's in
cycle
the
of life
center.
you were
Yeah.
talking about. Like it's not his first rodeo. Yeah. So another thing I want to ask you about within the creative process is you invite your viewer to come in and contemplate within us, or how did you describe it? What is outside is moving inside. And what does it mean for you to be a facilitator of allowing someone to find their own creative, intuitive voice with the deck itself?
Mm,
A deck, whatever deck they choose to use.
what does that mean? What I love about my job more and more, and it doesn't matter what form it takes, whether I'm facilitating someone on their thinking or if I'm doing a tarot reading for them, I'm holding that space of what do I know? I'm holding that space to witness the one I'm with to find their own wisdom and their own truths.
Yeah, because their own wisdom and their own truth. I mean, you have the knowledge of the tarot and what the meaning is that's been compiled over centuries. And yet, if you're throwing down a card, whoever is viewing it, they're waiting for you to give the interpretation. But they, of course, are going to have their immediate, they're going to see the death card, right? And go, so it's almost like you have to allow them to have their own experience. But then there's this positive side to the death card as well, something being let go of,
Yeah,
something changing. And so it's a collaboration, right? Would it
it
be a
is.
collaboration?
And I try and have this, I try my best to have a really light touch and ask a lot of questions. Like, if it's a kind and friendly universe, how could the death card be for me at this moment in my life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as a painter, if I'm utilizing it in a workshop, let's say a tarot deck, and someone pulls that death card, then I might be, as a facilitator, saying, what do you want to let go of? And how
Yes.
do we paint that? Not what
Yes.
you see in the card per se, but as a symbol. And that was that next question. What does symbol mean to you?
What does symbol mean to me? I was just thinking about this card. If somebody pulled this card while they were painting, might be time for them to take a break.
Yeah, they're carrying the sticks. Although wands are good ideas. And
Yes, right. There's good ideas, but
idea.
then this card has a little burden in it, right? So this card, even though it's not thinking, there's this feeling of, well, this person is actually further along than they think. They're moving toward their goal. They're working with passion. but
Mm.
there's maybe an impulse to take a pause. So there's both what wants to be created, and then there's the process and honoring the process, which has these vulnerable moments of, you know, not, trying to push through a creative process instead of allowing that kind of thing. So you were asking another question, which I lost.
It was, what's the difference between a
Oh, symbols.
symbol and concepts, like having a conceptual idea and when a symbol actually comes? Because I do a lot of meditative prompts of visual symbols and signs, which is not only like it's our five senses. Like sometimes people don't see things in their mind's eye, but they can sense them somatically.
Mm.
And I guess where I'm going with that is the concept might be, I feel the wind blowing and I can hear the wind. Then I might say, well, what does wind mean to you? And if it was a symbol, but you don't see it, I'm kind of getting a little abstract here.
Yeah.
Just conceptual ideas that become symbols and signs. For instance, you might get the idea of seeing a lotus flower in your mind's eye, or you might just feel your heart opening. Those are two different things, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a little abstract. I'm aware of that, but let's see where
But
it
I
goes.
love that. It's like if I'm dealing with words, and words are symbols twice removed.
Mm. Mm.
There's a word, there's words, and then there's the essence behind the words. I mean, how many times have you tried to communicate something where words didn't cut it?
Yeah.
They're just not gonna. They can't. I noticed particularly with love, when I was traveling the world, I was often in countries where I didn't speak the language, and I still wanted to connect to people. And I didn't have my words, other than I could say hello, goodbye, and thank you in various languages. That got me some place. But there was a way to connect in the heart space, particularly when I was in these countries where it felt like there were some very open-hearted people that was part of their culture. I didn't have the words, but I was still able to say, "I love you. You're a beautiful being."
Yeah. As a painter and an abstract painter, I think it's visual poetry. I
Visual poetry.
not always having a sunflower, but I could have yellow and oranges and they could just be sort of floating in the wind and you might get the essence of sunflower.
And I love that this is all part of our human experience, this sensory experience that we're having while we're in this 3D form where we've got colors and sounds and images and sensations and emotions. We get to create with all of those.
Well, the beautiful thing is we're all intuitive beings,
Yeah.
right? Our society really values this left brain um, and logic. And I think what's going to get us out of this mess is for people to be sovereign beings that really start practicing their intuition more. And that's why I think the tarot is such a great just to practice. Like if someone was to go buy a deck of cards and just start looking at each card and what do they
Yes.
see, what do they feel, and how does it relate to their life?
Yes. And in my life, I've become quite the tarot nerd. And so the people in my life get subjected to that. But they're starting to report seeing an imagery, not just the deck of cards. I had a client say to me, she has a black dog. She's like, I pulled the tarot card with the black dog.
You pulled the fool. The little dog nipping at the feet, which could be a
Yeah. So, I have another friend, and animals are the imagery that catches his attention. Oh, he keeps seeing ospreys everywhere. He sees snakes. He sees ibises. Well, today I saw 5 ibises. Yesterday I saw 12. It starts to be, if it's a kind and friendly universe, what if every image is here to guide me, inspire me, support me, teach me?
yeah. there's one of my favorite poets, also a teacher. His name is Mark Nepo. He's written a lot of books. And one exercise he gives about practicing the intuition is just walk outside your door and everything you see is a sign. And I remember doing
Yes.
it once, and to the right, I saw somebody had just dumped their trash. And I'm like, okay, what am I not taking care of in my own life? What am I just dumping to the side? And then I keep walking, and this tree is just like blowing in the wind, but it's very grounded. I'm like, okay, you can just start taking everything in life and are we giving it a sign or a symbol? I mean, I think that goes back to that abstract concept I was asking at the beginning of what does a sign and a symbol mean?
Maybe it's these forms, these thought forms that sometimes look like material objects that are reflecting our own inner world back to us.
Yeah. Yep.
I
That's really
wonder if
it.
there's some
It's a
sort of
mirror.
it's a mirror. I'm thinking at one point when I first started noticing, I was just coming out of being a sick woman. I used to be too sick to get out of bed, and then as this got healthier, I started to get healthier, and I was walking along, and I saw a woman kind of walking like this, carrying her cane.
Mm.
And what came in, it was like, sweetheart, maybe you're not as disabled as you think. Where are you carrying an old crutch that you could
Wow.
throw away?
That's really that's profound.
Yeah. And I
So
love that working with these cards for me, we'll see who comes up, has opened up my intuition. Just
yeah.
this practice. Because one thing I've gotten very clear on with both the work and tarot is that intuition is not a special skill.
That's right. Everyone can do it.
Everyone can do it. And the only thing that would keep me from doing it is a little thinking.
Yeah.
This is stupid. I don't have what it takes. People are going to ridicule me. I can't trust. I can't hear. I can't.
Well, some people also think that tarot, like astrology, is taboo
Yes, they
or
do. Mhm. And
black magic.
it's okay. That means that somebody has a different path in their earth school than I do.
Yeah. So something I want to touch on, before we start wrapping this up, is I also know about you that you do light language.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that and how that ties into our own intuition and maybe give us a little tidbit of it?
I love that you're bringing this back in for me. It's so related. It's like, so I had lived in this world where, you know, it was also, I thought I knew things. I thought the world was a certain way. And then I started to notice how meaningless my thoughts were. And I started to notice all the BS that was coming out of my mouth. I used to, before I got sick, work in public relations communications. In other words, I was a professional BS artist. And I could see, I used my words constantly all day long to manipulate people, control people, convince people, get what I want so that I could be okay. It seems like there was a lot of that in the world. And then I started to notice with this, is it true? Is it true? Is it true that there's this essence behind the words? And with light language, I'm connecting to an essence beyond the words, beyond the thinking mind.
What is light language?
Light language, let's see, it's a way to connect to, it's a way to communicate through energy. It's a way to communicate beyond words. And to allow myself to be moved that way.
Now,
So, and it teaches me. So, oh, you had a question.
well, is it visual? Is it sound? What is it somatically? Like where
Oh, great
is
question. It could be visual. It could be sounds. It could be in the body. I can use my hands and bring in different energies and communicate with the body.
Okay, so light language, let's just take it as a visual. Would that be like aesthetic writing or automatic writing, or just as a painter? I keep bringing it back to that because that's my
Yes.
language.
Yes.
Um,
When I first had my light language activated, which is really just another way of saying,
that what does that mean?
clearing the distortions and clearing the places where my expression was blocked. My light language activation was really about clearing the throat chakra, connecting the heart and the throat.
Did you do that yourself, or was that something that you learned from
I
some?
had a teacher at that point, and I've helped several, I've helped quite a few people activate their light language since then. It's not hard to do if someone is willing and ready to have it done.
Can you
In
give us an?
fact, I see that yours is it's already active, actually. It's already active.
Could you give us an example of light languaging for the audience somehow?
Yes. So it's like in the visual, I might just close my eyes and take my pen or my paintbrush and put it on the paper and notice the mind, notice how it wants to say, this is stupid, you're doing it wrong, what's wrong with you, you're going to make a mess, and then just let it move and just be open to what wants to move through me. And to notice what would come in. Sometimes I would get guidance, sometimes I would be shown. It then turned into a portal.
Mm. What
With
is a portal
sound, which
for
is a
you?
nice way that we could do it right now.
Okay.
For me, it's about first connecting to the heart space.
So do we breathe to do
Yeah,
that?
let's do it. Let's have a little experience. So
Okay.
let's just take a few breaths
Mm.
and then notice the heart space. Notice what feels open, what feels closed. And just in this now moment to open the heart as much as possible in this moment. And because I think it's because I'm in this field with you, I'm just seeing this glowing green. I'm just
Mm.
seeing this glowing green, yellowy green in the heart space. And then moving that energy up to the throat and just bringing that loving energy into the throat space. And boy, it's interesting to notice I still don't feel entirely open there. Many of us, particularly us female ones, are still learning how to use our voice. So just wrapping that energy. I can't communicate from the heart. Bringing that communication from the heart into the throat, wrapping that light around the vocal cords. Then moving that energy up to the third eye. I can't help but see that purple color. And then up through the crown, connecting to source, creating this open channel just from the heart chakra up for now. And then imagining this open channel, this beautiful golden light that might be able to come down through the crown into the third eye and into the throat. And then inviting you to receive. First, I'm going to speak and just receive. And then there might be another way to play too. Uaya muaya maia. Amianaya mayana maya mia. Aryama ianata yaka aryamaya ayataryama. Ayamayata uramata. Imaya mahaya. Ayama.
Mm. Ooh. Mm. Thank you. I invite everyone to just let that settle in for a moment and ground into the sensation and the essence without prescribing what that's supposed to mean. Ah, thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you. And that's not what I thought was coming out of me. And when it started singing, I was like, I don't want to sing. I'm not hitting the notes right. Where does that low voice come from? But it was like, okay, that's the way of it.
That's
Okay, I'm
the
gonna
that's the
trust
flow.
it.
That's like staying in the flow. And I had a sign, or is it a symbol, or is it both? Come that was in front of me, and it was just a white female, all dressed in white, with a big crown. It was really beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So,
And then I love how, don't have to take anything seriously. I don't have to know what it means. It can just be feeling. But then if I get an image or a word, what's to keep me from playing with it, especially if I don't take it seriously? I saw this like weaving of energies. It was like this swirl of energies around that wanted to be moved into the like, and then I saw like this earthy color, like the color of, I saw those New Mexico, that Santa Fe, you know, like an abacu, that those red rocks and that red earth.
beautiful. See, that's so beautiful. So tell us how people can find you.
The best way to find me is, well, my website is friendlyuniversetarot.com, and social media, Facebook, Instagram, also Friendly Universe Tarot. And if you happen to be local in St. Pete, I'm doing readings locally at the Sanctum Apothecary. It's a little tea shop and herbal shop. That would be some way for in person.
So it's, as we're recording this, it's 2025 in, I'll just say August, July, August, we're at the cusp. And Andrea and I are going to be offering as a container, a 4-day online workshop of painting and tarot. And so we'll be reading of the tarot. So you'll be bringing your own deck and some art supplies, and you don't have to have any experience in either. And if you were to describe what we're going to do as this container, what might you say, Andrea? It's just a quick, not a quick, but it is it's 4 days, and it will be spread not over 4 weeks. It will start on October 31st, and then we're meeting again. That's a Friday. We'll meet again that next Tuesday, and then we'll meet again on that Friday, and then that Tuesday. And it will be 2.5 hours, and it will start at 1:30 in the afternoon MST time. So it will be recorded if you can't make a session. And it's a container of exploration and learning how to utilize your own intuition and how to be a mirror for the signs and symbols that you see.
That's so beautifully said. A sacred container for this creative expression, this life force energy that we are. And that I'm coming to see that my vitality, my radiant health requires for me to really allow this expression to come through me in whatever form it wants to. So it's 4 days to explore how to be free to create, how to connect to the mystery of this life that we live, this human experience, and know ourselves better in the process, and each other, and to connect beyond, what we think we need to do or accomplish. A supportive creative field.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here today. I really enjoyed that. That was great. Okay. Bye, everybody.